Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Leo. It's really nice to have you here with us again.
Yes, thank you for spending a little time with us today. Maybe you're walking, maybe drinking coffee, or maybe relaxing after a long day.
I imagine some people are also learning English while listening to us. That always makes me happy.
Me too. And today we have a topic that feels very modern, something that is everywhere in our lives now.
Yeah, something we see almost every day.
Artificial intelligence. Exactly. You hear about it on the news, at work, on social media, even in normal conversations with friends.
Yeah. Sometimes people talk about it like it will change the whole world.
And maybe it will.
But today we want to ask a simple question.
Is AI making us smarter, or is it making us a little lazy?
That is such an interesting question.
Because honestly, sometimes I feel both things at the same time.
Same here. Some days I feel very impressed by technology. Other days I think, maybe my brain is sleeping more than before.
Today, we will talk about our personal experiences, how AI tools affect our daily life, our work, our learning, and even the way we think.
And maybe you can think about your own experience while listening.
Yes. And if you enjoy these conversations, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue making these podcasts.
All right, Sophie, let's start.
Let's start. I want to begin with a small story from my daily life. A few months ago, I noticed something interesting about myself.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, I was writing an email for work. It was not a difficult email, just a normal message. But I opened an AI tool and asked it to help me write it.
That sounds normal these days.
Yes, but after I sent the email, I suddenly thought, wait a minute.
What did you think?
I thought, did I really need help with that?
Ah, I see what you mean.
It was a very simple message, something I have written many times before. But my first idea was not to think. My first idea was to ask AI.
That's interesting. Almost like a habit.
Exactly. And that moment made me a little uncomfortable
Why uncomfortable?
because I started thinking about my brain. Am I using it less now?
That is a very honest question.
What about you, Leo? Have you ever felt something similar?
Yes, actually, many times. I remember one moment very clearly.
Tell me.
I was trying to remember a simple word in English. Not a difficult word, just a normal everyday word.
That happens to me too sometimes.
Yes, but instead of thinking for a few seconds, I immediately opened an AI app and asked, "What is the word for this?"
Oh, wow.
And the answer came in 1 second.
Very fast.
Yes, and it was helpful. But after that, I thought, maybe I should have tried to remember it myself.
I understand that feeling.
Our brains are like muscles. If we don't use them, they become weaker.
That's true. Like when people stop reading books.
Yes, or when people stop doing simple math in their head.
Oh, calculators did that to many of us.
Exactly. Before calculators, people were very fast with numbers.
My grandfather could calculate things in his head very quickly.
Mine too. And now when someone asks me something like 47 plus 38,
You open your phone.
yeah, sometimes I do.
But AI feels even bigger than calculators.
Definitely bigger.
Because it can write, explain, translate, plan, almost everything.
It can even help people think.
Or maybe think less.
That's the big question.
I remember when AI tools first became popular online. Everyone was very excited.
Yeah, people said it would change education, work, creativity, everything.
Some people were excited. Some people were scared.
And some people were both.
I think I was both.
Why scared?
Because I wondered what would happen to our ability to solve problems.
That's a good point.
When something is difficult, we usually grow. Our brain learns something new.
Yes, struggle is part of learning.
Exactly. But if a machine solves the problem in 5 seconds,
Then we skip the struggle.
and maybe we skip the learning too.
That reminds me of something from my school days.
What is it?
When I was a student, my teacher once said something very simple, but very powerful. She said, "The moment you feel confused is the moment your brain is working."
I like that.
Confusion is not bad. It means your brain is trying to understand.
But today, many people don't like confusion.
No, we want answers immediately.
Fast answers. Easy answers.
And AI gives exactly that,
Yes, immediate help.
which is amazing, but also maybe dangerous.
I think the word comfortable is important here.
Comfortable?
Yes, AI makes life very comfortable.
And humans love comfort.
But too much comfort sometimes makes us stop growing.
That is true.
I noticed this when I tried to learn a new skill last year.
What skill?
Drawing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just for fun. I wanted to learn how to draw simple sketches.
That sounds relaxing.
It was, but it was also frustrating in the beginning.
Because your drawings didn't look good?
Exactly. My drawings looked terrible.
That's normal when you start something new.
But then one day I saw an AI program that could create beautiful drawings in seconds.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Suddenly I thought, why am I spending hours practicing?
When a machine can do it instantly.
Yeah, and that thought felt strange.
Because the point of learning drawing is not only the final picture.
Exactly. The point is the process.
The slow improvement.
The mistakes.
The small progress every day.
But AI changes our relationship with effort.
That's a powerful sentence.
It makes us ask a new question.
Which question?
And honestly, I still don't know the answer.
That question stayed in my mind for a long time when AI tools started becoming popular. At first, I was just curious, like many people. I opened the tools, asked simple questions, played with them, and I thought it was amazing. It felt almost magical, like having a very intelligent assistant always sitting next to you, ready to help you with anything you needed.
Yes, that is exactly the feeling. It almost feels like you are never alone when you work anymore. There's always something there that can answer your questions or give you ideas when your mind feels tired.
And in the beginning, I think that feeling is very exciting. You feel more productive, you feel faster, sometimes you even feel smarter because suddenly you can do things that used to take much more time.
I remember that feeling very well. The first weeks I used AI tools, I felt like my daily tasks became much lighter. Writing emails was easier, Searching for information was faster. Even planning things felt simpler because I could ask for suggestions and ideas.
Yes, and that is a very real benefit. We should not ignore that. Technology has always helped humans become more efficient. Calculators helped with numbers, computers helped with data, and now AI helps with thinking tasks.
That is true. But I think something subtle is happening at the same time. It is not always very visible, and maybe that is why people do not talk about it enough.
What do you mean by subtle?
I mean, small changes in our daily habits, small changes in how we approach problems. For example, before AI tools were everywhere, when I had a question, I usually spent time thinking first. I tried to remember things. I searched in books or articles. Sometimes I even asked friends or colleagues.
So the process was slower.
Yes, but it was also deeper. My brain was involved in the whole process. I was searching, connecting ideas, sometimes making mistakes, and slowly understanding something new.
And now the process is different.
Very different. Now many people skip those steps. They go directly to the answer.
That is true. Sometimes I catch myself doing exactly that. Instead of sitting with a question for a few minutes and letting my mind explore different ideas, I immediately open an AI tool and ask for the answer.
And the answer comes quickly, clearly, and often very well explained.
Yeah. Sometimes the explanation is so clear that it almost feels better than a teacher.
That is the strange part. AI explanations can be very good, very structured, very easy to understand, but sometimes I wonder if understanding something instantly is always the best way to learn it.
That is an interesting thought.
Because when we struggle a little with a problem, we build a stronger connection in our mind. We remember the process, not just the result.
I remember that from my university days. Some of the things I understand best today are the things that confused me the most at first.
Exactly. When something is easy, we sometimes forget it quickly. But when something is difficult and we slowly work through it, the memory becomes stronger.
That reminds me of learning languages. When you try to remember a word and you cannot find it immediately, your brain starts searching through many connections.
Yeah, like opening different drawers in your mind.
And when you finally remember the word, the feeling is very satisfying.
That small moment of success is very important.
But if an AI gives you the word instantly, you skip that whole mental process.
Then maybe your brain does not build the same strong connection.
I have felt that when learning vocabulary. Sometimes when I use translation tools too quickly, I notice that I forget the words more easily later.
That makes sense, because the word did not come from your own memory effort. It came from an external source.
Exactly. It feels like borrowing a thought instead of building it.
I like that expression, borrowing the thought.
But I also want to be fair to AI. There are moments when it truly helps us think more deeply.
I agree. It is not only negative.
Sometimes when I am thinking about a complex idea, I ask AI questions, not to replace my thinking, but to explore more possibilities.
Like having a conversation partner.
Yes, exactly like that. Imagine you are sitting with someone who can quickly suggest different perspectives or ask you new questions. That can push your thinking further.
I've had moments like that too. Sometimes when I'm stuck with a problem or a creative idea, I ask AI for different viewpoints. Not because I want the final answer, but because I want inspiration.
And inspiration can be very powerful.
Yes, because creativity often comes from seeing things from different angles.
And that way, AI can expand our thinking instead of replacing it.
But I think the difference depends on how we use it.
That is the key point.
Some people use AI as a tool to support their thinking.
And some people use it as a replacement for thinking.
Exactly.
I remember talking to a friend about this recently. He works in marketing, and he told me something that stayed in my mind.
What did he say?
He said many people in his office now write reports using AI tools. They enter a few ideas, and the system creates a long text. It looks professional, organized, and very polished.
That sounds very convenient.
Yes, but he told me that sometimes when he asks colleagues deeper questions about the report, they cannot explain some parts.
Because they did not fully think through the ideas themselves.
Exactly. The words look intelligent, but the thinking behind them is sometimes shallow.
That is a little scary.
It is not necessarily bad intention. It's just easy to rely too much on technology when it's always there.
Humans naturally choose the easier path when it is available.
Yes, that is part of human nature.
But I think this creates an interesting moment in our history.
What do you mean?
For the first time, we have technology that can participate in intellectual tasks, not just physical tasks.
That is true. Machines used to help us with physical work. Factories, machines, transportation.
But now, machines are helping with thinking work.
Writing, planning, explaining, analyzing.
And that changes something deep about how we see our own intelligence.
Because thinking has always been something very human.
Yeah, something that made us feel unique.
And now we share that space with technology.
Which can feel exciting, but also a little uncomfortable.
I think many people feel that discomfort, but do not always talk about it openly.
Maybe because they also enjoy the benefits.
Of course, life becomes easier in many ways.
But at the same time, somewhere inside, we ask ourselves a quiet question.
Which question?
If something else can think for me, what will happen to my own thinking?
That question is probably just beginning for humanity.
You know, Leo, when you say that, it reminds me of something I noticed recently in my own routine. It is a very small thing, but it made me stop and think for a long moment. One evening, I was trying to remember the name of a movie that I watched years ago. I could clearly see some scenes in my mind. I remembered the actors' faces, the music, and even a few parts of the story, but the title just would not come to me.
That kind of thing happens to me often, especially with movies or songs from many years ago.
Yes, and in the past, I would usually sit there for a few minutes and try to remember. I would close my eyes, think about the actors, think about where I watched it, maybe even remember the time in my life when I saw it.
Your brain would search through your memories.
Exactly. And sometimes after a few minutes, suddenly the name would appear in my mind, and I would feel that little moment of happiness, like my brain had solved a small puzzle.
That small victory feels very satisfying.
But this time, I did something different. After maybe 10 seconds, I opened my phone and asked an AI assistant to find the movie for me.
And of course, it found it immediately.
Yes, in 2 seconds. It showed the movie poster, the actors, everything. The problem was solved instantly.
That sounds very convenient.
It was convenient, but I noticed something strange inside me. I didn't feel that same small happiness that I used to feel when my brain found the answer.
Because the discovery did not come from your own thinking.
Yes. It was almost like skipping the final moment of a puzzle. The answer was there, but the journey was missing.
That is a very interesting observation. Sometimes the process of searching for an answer is just as important as the answer itself.
I believe that more and more, when we search for something with our own minds, we build connections between ideas. We remember other things, we think about different possibilities.
The brain becomes active in many directions.
Exactly. But when a machine gives us the answer instantly, that exploration does not happen.
It is like walking directly to the destination instead of enjoying the road.
Yes, that is a beautiful way to say it. And the road often teaches us more than the destination.
I experienced something similar with writing. A few months ago, I was working on a personal project, and I needed to write a short article. Normally, writing takes time for me. I sit, I think, I change sentences, I delete things, and slowly the ideas become clearer.
Writing is a very reflective process.
Exactly. Sometimes I start writing with one idea, and after 30 minutes, I realize that my opinion has changed because I discovered something new while thinking.
That happens to me too. Writing is almost like having a conversation with your own mind.
But this time I was tired, and I thought, maybe I will just ask AI to create a draft for me.
That sounds familiar.
The AI created a very nice text. It was structured, clear, and even a little elegant. When I read it, I thought, this is actually quite good.
So what happened next?
For a moment, I considered using it almost exactly as it was, but something inside me felt uncomfortable. The words looked good, but they did not fully feel like my own voice.
Like wearing clothes that fit well but aren't really your style.
Yes, that is a perfect comparison. They look good, but they did not feel like me.
So what did you do?
I closed the AI window and started writing again from the beginning, slowly, sentence by sentence. It took more time, and the final text was probably less perfect than the AI version.
But it was yours.
Exactly. And while writing, I discovered ideas that I had not thought about before. My thinking became deeper during the process.
That is the magic of effort. Effort often reveals things we did not expect.
Yes, when something is too easy, we sometimes lose that discovery.
I think many people today are standing between these two worlds. One world is speed and convenience. The other world is slow thinking and personal effort.
And both worlds have value.
Yes, I do not believe the answer is simply AI is good or AI is bad. Reality is much more complex.
Technology itself is neutral. The real question is how humans decide to use it.
Exactly. For example, imagine a student who uses AI to check their understanding after studying something deeply.
That could be very helpful.
But imagine another student who never studies the topic and only asks AI for the final answers.
In that case, the learning is very shallow.
The tool is the same, but the result is very different.
This reminds me of something I heard from a professor many years ago. He once said that tools can either extend our abilities or replace them.
That is a powerful distinction.
If a tool extends your ability, you become stronger.
But if it replaces your ability, you may become weaker over time.
So the question becomes, are we extending our thinking with AI, or are we slowly replacing it?
That might be one of the most important questions of our generation.
And I think the answer will depend on our awareness. If we use AI without thinking, we may become passive. But if we use it with intention, it can become a powerful partner.
I like the word partner. It feels more balanced.
Yeah, not a master, not a replacement, just a partner that can help us explore ideas.
But that balance is not always easy to maintain, especially when we are tired or busy.
True. When life becomes stressful, people naturally look for shortcuts.
And AI offers many shortcuts.
Which means we must sometimes remind ourselves to slow down and think for ourselves.
That is probably the real challenge of this new era.
Not fighting technology, but learning how to live with it in a healthy way.
Learning when to ask for help and when to trust our own minds.
Exactly. Because our minds are still incredible tools, even in a world full of artificial intelligence.
When you say that, Sophie, I feel something very important there. Sometimes we talk about technology as if it is competing with us, like it is trying to replace humans. But maybe the real challenge is not competition. Maybe the real challenge is remembering the value of our own minds.
Yes, I feel that too. Because our minds are not only machines that produce answers, our minds are also connected to emotions, experiences, memories, and values. AI can give information, but it cannot live a human life.
That is true. When we think about something deeply, our thoughts are influenced by everything we have experienced before. Our childhood, our mistakes, our relationships, our fears, our dreams, all of that shapes the way we understand the world.
And that is something very unique. Even if AI can generate beautiful sentences or very clever ideas, those ideas do not come from lived experience. They come from patterns in data.
Exactly. And I think that is why human thinking still matters so much, because our thoughts carry our personal stories inside them.
I noticed this very clearly when I was talking with a younger cousin of mine a few weeks ago. He is still in school, and he told me that many students now use AI tools for homework. Sometimes they ask the system to write answers or explain things instead of trying to understand the lesson themselves.
That must be very tempting for students.
Of course it is. Imagine you have a difficult assignment. You are tired, and there's a tool that can produce the answer in seconds. Many people will choose the easy way.
But learning requires effort.
Yes, and I told my cousin something very simple. I said, the goal of school is not just to produce answers. The goal is to train your mind.
That is such an important idea.
When you struggle with a problem, your brain becomes stronger. When you read something difficult and slowly understand it, your thinking becomes deeper. Those moments shape who you become.
And if someone skips that process too often, they might miss an important part of their growth.
Exactly. It is similar to physical exercise. Imagine someone has a machine that lifts weights for them while they sit in a chair.
That would be comfortable, but their muscles would not grow.
Yes, thinking works the same way. The effort is part of the development.
I sometimes worry that younger generations might grow up with less patience for slow thinking.
That is possible, but I also believe humans are adaptable. Every generation faces new technologies and new challenges. When the internet first appeared, people also had many fears about how it would change thinking.
That is true. And in many ways, the internet also helped people learn more and connect with ideas from all over the world.
Exactly. Technology can open doors if we use it wisely.
I think the key word here is awareness. If we are aware of how technology influences our habits, we can make better choices.
Sometimes we can intentionally give our brains time to think before asking for help.
Yeah, like waiting a few minutes before searching for an answer.
Or trying to write our own ideas first, even if they are imperfect.
Imperfect thinking is still real thinking.
And sometimes those imperfect ideas lead to something original.
That is something AI cannot easily replicate. Originality that comes from personal experience.
Exactly. Our creativity often grows from our struggles, our emotions, and our unique perspective on life.
I remember once reading that many great inventions came from long periods of confusion and trial and error.
Yeah. Innovation rarely comes from instant answers. It comes from curiosity and persistence.
Which means we should protect those qualities.
I agree. Curiosity is one of the most beautiful parts of being human. The desire to explore, to ask questions, to discover things slowly.
AI can help answer questions, but curiosity itself must come from us.
And maybe that is the most important balance we need to keep. We can use AI as a helpful tool, but we should not let it replace our curiosity.
Because curiosity is the engine of learning.
Exactly. When we are curious, we read more, we ask deeper questions, we try new things, and our minds continue growing.
And when our minds continue growing, technology becomes a partner instead of a crutch.
I like that image. A partner walking beside us, not carrying us while we sleep.
Yes, a tool that supports our thinking but does not silence it.
Sometimes I imagine the future and wonder how people will look back at this moment in history. Maybe they will say this was the time when humans learned how to work together with intelligent machines.
That is a hopeful way to see it.
I prefer hope over fear. Every powerful tool in history created both opportunities and risks, but humans usually find a way to adapt.
And maybe the real lesson is very simple.
What lesson?
Technology can make our lives easier, but meaning and wisdom still come from human effort.
That is beautifully said. The tools around us may become more advanced, but the most important work still happens inside our minds and hearts.
And maybe that means we should continue doing small things that keep our minds active.
Like reading books, having deep conversations, solving problems slowly, and reflecting on our experiences.
Exactly. Those habits keep our thinking alive.
And when our thinking is alive, AI becomes something positive in our lives instead of something that replaces us.
I think that is a comforting conclusion.
Me too. Instead of asking whether AI will make us smarter or lazier, maybe the better question is how we choose to live with it.
Because the choice is still ours.
Yes, our curiosity, our effort, and our awareness will decide the answer.
And that means the future of human thinking is still in human hands.
I like that thought very much.
Me too.
And maybe that is a good place to pause today.
Yes, a calm thought to end on.
Thank you for spending this time with us and thinking about this topic together.
We hope our conversation made you reflect a little about your own relationship with technology and learning.
And maybe tomorrow, when you have a question, you might try thinking for a moment before asking for the answer.
Just to give your brain a little exercise.
Exactly.
See you next time.
See you next time.